Now, this is not a description I am giving you, an accurate description of widespread events, but it does give you an illustration of the unauthorized authority that the British authorities had presumed over us. And the fact that these laws were fulfilled in the breach gives you some idea of how legitimate we felt that they were. On the other hand, the other colonies and ourselves realized that they did pose possible threats in the future to our existence and to our profitability for ourselves. We found ourselves in a position that we had to determine ultimately between resistance or unconditional submission.
I was beside myself. I was flawed. I couldn't begin to express my disbelief. And I stood there, relatively quiet and relatively motionless, until the end of this meeting. But I assure you, when I went into that meeting, I was a British subject. And at the end of that meeting, as I turned to leave, I realized, in fact, I was turning my back on my British citizenship and everything that Britain stood for. And I became an American patriot at that moment.
First was Mr. Paine. Mr. Paine submitted his pamphlet in the January of '76 that Dr. Rush, you remember Dr. Rush, sir? Dr. Rush conveyed his wishes that Mr. Paine change his title to Common Sense. And it was at that moment that every farmer and every mechanic understood in words that appealed to them the necessity of breaking any political allegiance with Great Britain, and the prize for being the first society to base their governance upon the rights of man. After that day, at the end of the afternoon, they did in fact accept the Declaration of Independence, and its text was presented to our newly independent people, and its guiding principles are conveyed to our progeny and those who will come after us. Now, as I said earlier, the passions of one generation cannot be conveyed to another. But if those future generations misunderstand the principles of this declaration, they will find themselves saddled and spurred as we once were not so many years ago. I am certain.